Here is a short video on dealing with color changes that occur within a shot itself. So this is not matching one shot to another, but trying to address a shifting color within one particular shot. So I've been sent this clip all the way from China, and if I just scrub through it, you'll see it starts off overly warm. So we've got quite an orange cast to this image, and as I go through this shot, you see it starts to warm up, becomes more blue. And then there's another shot on the end of this, so I'm actually going to separate this out. That's probably the colour level that we're going for. But if you compare that, nicely illuminated shot with that, if they were to all run together like this, it would be a bit odd. So first thing I'm going to do is split the clips. So get my razor tool and find somewhere here. That's the first clip there. Get my razor tool, just clip on that line. Because the thing we're going to concern ourselves with, this is the reference color that we want to use, is this section here. So that last frame there still needs to be a little bit brighter. And this one here needs to change quite considerably. So what I'm going to do is apply this to, not the clip itself, but to an adjustment layer. And means I can then, if I don't like it or want to change it, I can add another one on top of it or remove it entirely, rather than have to muck around with the clip itself. So a right click here, choose new item, adjustment layer, click OK, and then drop it over the bit that I want to affect, which is here. Okay. Make sure this is selected, because this is the thing we're going to add the color adjustments to. And I can probably quite reasonably well eyeball this. So we said it was too orange, so I'm going to pull away from the orange and towards the blue. But if I go here, there's the original clip and there's the reference. So that's what I'm hoping to get towards. Let's go back to here. Make sure I'm on the adjustment layer. Yeah, the minute I am, that goes, but I've got, so let's cue it up to about 66. Now let's try, see what that looks like. Okay, that's the final clip there, and that's what I've got that to there like that. Next thing I need to do is increase the brightness. So I'll come up here onto my adjustment layer again and increase the exposure. And probably to about there. Okay, so yeah, that's a lot closer to what we're looking at. I'm just referencing that. See, I don't want to go too far with the exposure because it gets burnt out and I lose the. In this shot, one of the reference things would be, can I still make out the grey kind of marbling on the walls? So I wouldn't want to go too far and burn that out. That's probably, although I do want it a bit brighter, maybe about 1.92. That's just below 1.9. Okay, settle for that. So I've changed just the temperature to cool it down a bit, to get rid of the orange cast, and increase the exposure to brighten the shot. Now, if I look at the shot over time, those values might work for the beginning, but by the time we get to the end, oh, we're way too blue and probably way too bright. So what we're going to do is use keyframes to change these initial values here, so they're different by the end of the clip, but they still kind of match that. So let's go up to Effects Controls. Now you've got to be careful here, because I have done this before, and as you're scrolling up with the mouse, certainly on a Mac, you can inadvertently cause some of these to change, and then it all goes very strange. But I think we managed to avoid that. So here we go. As you can see, it's set that value there, minus 66.8 and 1.9. But we're going to change them over time. So I'm on the first frame there. I'm going to set a keyframe. So you can see there's the beginning of a dot there. And similarly for the exposure, there, like that. And now what I'm going to do is go to the end of the shot. Go to the last frame, which is there. And set another keyframe for both the temperature there and for the exposure. Those are the two things we altered. And now change these values. So the temperature we probably need, I can either do it here or there. Let's do it here. We know it's on 66, so we're going to dial it back down a bit. Maybe to about there. We'll try about there, minus 8. And the exposure. Now that's not too far off. I'm going to check with the source in a minute. That's probably about there, just coming slightly. So the trick is going to be, if I run this into that. Okay, what do we think? That still looks too blue. That looks too blue there, and it's not so blue there like that. Now the thing to bear in mind is you probably wouldn't put these shots together because they are almost like they should be together. It looks like a jump cut, so it looks like, oh, there's some frames missing. But nevertheless, we still would want to try and aspire to have them matching colour. So looking at that and then looking at that, it's not bad, but maybe there's just a touch too much blue. So if I go back to my adjustment layer here, go to the end keyframe for the temperature. So I can click this to go to the keyframe, so I know I'm on that there. We think it's maybe too blue still, so let's make this minus 5. Take a bit more the blue out of that. Like that. Maybe not enough still. So again, come back to the adjustment layer here and find the temperature there, because it's coming. See, these values will change over time if I scrub through, because obviously it's transitioning from one to the other. So you see, it starts off with what we said at 66 and it's going over time. If it wasn't an even shift from one color to the other, you could add another keyframe so it starts off quicker and then slows down in terms of it doing that. But for the time being, we're just going to do a rough and ready version of this. So I'm going to go to this end value here, and I thought it was still a bit too blue, so let's make this minus 3. Oh, no, see what I've done, I didn't go to the end, it added another keyframe. So I need to go there, so it goes to the keyframe, and make this minus 3. And we're going to settle with, in fact, it gets a bit blue there, doesn't it? But the colour is, I think the colour is a lot more consistent looking as a consequence of doing that. And as I say, you wouldn't put this shot with that there, but these now look like they're part of the same shot rather than being completely different. So that's a quick rough and ready way to use keyframes adjustment layers to adjust the colour over time in a shot. There is finessing to be done here if you wanted to put an interim keyframe, so the colour, temperature or the exposure changed at different rates over different periods of time. But what you want to try and avoid is having too many rapid changes of colour in the scene, because that will look as bad as the original transition from one shot to another.